Hello, everybody. This is Swati doing the live mindfulness meditation camp with you. Today, I am again talking to you from New Delhi. Very excited to get immersed into mindfulness with you. A little bit of logistics first. I just want to tell you how I'm going to arrange this whole sessions in general. In the beginning, I will be answering questions from the previous time. Today is, by the way, is day 3 of our camp. So I will be answering questions from day 1 and day 2. Some people have emailed me some questions. I will choose one question and answer it. And then after that, we will get into a little bit of either a piece of history or a story or a research study or something about mindfulness that I believe you should know. And then we'll do a meditation, either an activity or meditation together. And after that, I will tell you what you just did and what kind of benefit you could derive from doing that activity. I will also answer new questions that may come up. I would like to tell you all that when you are doing these meditations or activities with me, please, whatever comes up, let me know. If it is a question, ask the question. If it is a comment, I love to hear about your comment, about how you experienced whatever we were doing and what your reaction to it was. In case if you're not able to ask me the question here, do email me to meditatetogether@gmail.com. To meditate, like what you see on the screen, this is the app that I have developed to meditate, but the email is to meditatetogether@gmail.com. I'm going to have the question and answer thing on at this point for those who do want to ask me questions. Having said that, now I'm going to answer a question that came up yesterday. Very important question. What basically it said was the sound awareness activity that we did yesterday. This person, they said that this activity was too much for them, partly because they have very sensitive ears, which helps them in the profession. But when it comes to just listening to sounds that are around them, in fact, even without focusing on them, it's extremely bothersome and extremely irritating. So the question was, what do they do about it? My answer to this is the following, and this is relevant not just for the sound awareness, but for anything where you feel some intense discomfort, something very bothersome. First of all, I want to say that if you believe there is any medical issue, either mental health issue or physical health issue, please consult a doctor. Second thing is, please write to me about it, because it may be something I've heard and I've worked with one of my clients. So I can always tell you what you could do about it. Now, specifically about this sound awareness thing, advice number 1 is, yes, if it is extremely uncomfortable, don't do that activity for the time being. However, if it is okay with you, you may want to try it 3 times. There is that 3 times rule, which basically says that if something doesn't work for you, try it at least 3 times. That's what it says. And what that means is that first time you may not like it, second time you may be okay with it, and the third time you may actually see the benefit that you can derive from it. So try it 3 times. Learn to sit through the discomfort to a certain degree and see sometimes uncomfortable feelings. If you sit through with them, they mean something to you, or suddenly they give you an insight that otherwise you would not get. So there is a value in sitting through uncomfortable feelings, and you may want to try that. But again, how much to push, that depends on the 3 times rule. Before you decide this is not for me. In that case, there are other kinds of meditations where you can focus. I see some questions here already. This is what I'm going to do. I am going to first give you a little bit of, first let's do a meditation together, and then I will answer the questions, because some of these are new questions. As I said, I am live with you from New Delhi, so Indian Standard Time, so it's morning time. It's time for my mindful cup of tea. If you are in another time zone, you can choose either any glass of water or drink, or you can choose something you want to eat, or you can choose an object that you want to focus on that's right next to you. I'm going to have just 2 sips of this tea, because what I would like you to get used to is whenever you have your tea or coffee in the morning, spend 2 minutes and just a couple of sips. I know you can give 2 minutes to it. At this point, you are doing it with me, but when you are not doing it with me or after the camp is finished, get used to being mindful, getting everything, and increasing awareness by starting with a morning cup of tea. So let me do it at this point. Those who haven't seen it, those who are entering it now, I suggest watching either day 1 or day 2. I am going to try to read the question that have been posed here. Meanwhile, you can continue doing your mindful drinking or mindful watching. Someone has kindly thanked Dr. Raj and me Now, Eugenia wants to know if it is a good idea to do conduct mindful exercises just before you sleep. And the answer is absolutely. In fact, we are going to get into it more in our future sessions. So you will have to really wait to get the full answer. But the short answer is yes, it will help you to sleep better in most cases. But there are certain specific meditations that you could be doing that would help you to sleep better. And I like it when people are really involved and they want to ask these questions, because that's the way you will really derive benefit from it. Someone is, I think they're calling from Portugal, I'm not sure. And for them, it really is nighttime. That's so interesting. Okay, so there is one other very interesting question, which basically says, uh, if it is okay, one of the things that it's saying is, yeah, I mean, when you want to sleep, that's fine. That is not a big deal. But the important thing that this question is asking is it okay to mix mindfulness meditation and transcendental meditation? Um, in general, one would advise not to mix meditation styles or any, like, for example, they advise you not to go to two different psychologists because it can be confusing and what you're trying to achieve may get all mixed up. Transcendental meditation has its own place, and mindfulness meditation has its another place. If you want, I can talk about the differences. If you want, you'll have to ask me that question one more time, that tell me what the difference is between TM and mindfulness. But at this point, for lack of time, I am going to say, try not to mix these two. When you're doing mindfulness, train yourself for mindfulness. Ron, you did ask me this question, I think yesterday as well. And I said, I think, okay, the question is, how do you stay calm at intensely challenging situations? And one more time, that is the whole thing why we are doing mindfulness meditations in a way. And I am going to get into the details of the answer to these questions eventually, Ron. You will have to be patient. But right now, to just answer, one of the things you're doing by practicing mindfulness is the idea of, or the habit of observing instead of getting immersed into the feelings of that situation. So when we do other meditations, you will realize how you're training yourself to observe. And what observing does is it gives you a little bit of a distance. And that's how you can go through intense situations, intensely uncomfortable situations. In a way, what mindfulness is asking you to do is A, be aware, and the second, B is to really accept. And the third very important thing is you're also learning to observe as opposed to getting immersed. So yes, staying calm at intensely challenging situation is extremely difficult. Staying calm is very difficult, but to deal with those kinds of situations in a better and better way, that is possible. It's always a process, but just be patient and keep learning mindfulness meditations. And I would really like to know if it makes a difference to you. And that's yesterday's question. Now, this is what I am going to do at this point. I am going to ask you to, I'm going to choose another activity that all of us do, listening to music. Now, what I would like to do is talk a little bit about how to listen to music mindfully. And Ron, that may also answer your question a little bit. When you are listening to a piece of music, it's one thing to listen to the technicality and all that kind of stuff. Yes, that's another way, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm going to ask you to pay attention to the feelings the associations that you experience when you listen to a piece of music. Sometimes it may be amazing kind of experience, admiration. Sometimes it may be sadness. Sometimes it may be extreme discomfort, intense feelings may kick in when you're listening to a piece of music. But what if you just simply decided to observe it? You simply decided to pay attention to it and not react, not jump, not do anything, but just keep listening. One more time, if there is any medical issue, any trauma, please consult a psychologist or a doctor. But outside of that, if you're willing to sit through these things, please do pay attention to the feelings and be okay with them as you're listening to the piece of music. A lot of times, in fact, they do generate, listening to music does generate a calmness or being in touch with something higher than ourselves and all these really blissful feelings. So I am going to start a piece of music, but if you don't like that, please choose your own music. If you don't want to listen to music at this point, again, then in that case, either continue with your mindful activity or take an object that you observe. But because I love this piece of music, I am going to start it at this point. Can people hear me? Some people are saying they cannot. I do have my headphones on today, so I am not sure if you can hear me or not. Can you please let me know if you can hear me at this point? Music audio is not getting. Music audio is not getting. That is okay, because in that case, you can use your own music. Can't hear any audio. Wow. I wonder what's going on. You guys should be able to hear me. Okay, can you hear me now? Can somebody tell me if my voice is, you can hear my voice? I guess if you can't hear my voice, you can't tell me if it's okay or not. Okay, you can hear my voice, but you couldn't hear the music. That's okay. I'm really sorry if you couldn't hear the music. However, in that case, you could hear your own music as well. This meditation, maybe after we are done with this session, you may want to do this again, activity rather. Because listening to music is a common activity. I would like you guys to pay attention to the feelings and accept them and be okay with them. Okay, so a lot of people are saying they couldn't hear the music, they can hear me talking. All right. I'm going to let you have 2 more minutes of choosing your own music and listening to it. Because a lot of you couldn't hear the music I was playing, but I want to make sure you all get that experience. And then comment on what you felt. So I'm going to give you exactly 2 minutes, because we don't have a whole lot of time right now, but 2 minutes of listening to whatever music you want to listen to. Or if you don't have a piece of music, listen to the sounds around you. Okay, at this point, I would like you to pay attention to what I'm saying. If you have any comments on your experience of listening to music, if it is the same as what you generally do, or if it is different, do let me know. If you cannot write it here, do write to me to meditatetogether@gmail.com. At this point, I would like to tell you a little bit of history of why mindful activities. Mindfulness, we will learn about a little bit of history of mindfulness later in this camp, but right now I just want to mention the fact it's a 25-year-old tradition. In the beginning, it was basically practiced in monastic situations, where monks who had whole lot of time to sit and do meditations were the ones who were doing mindfulness meditations. However, the idea was to include everybody, and farmers and householders and everybody were included in these teachings. Especially when these teachings went to Southeast Asia, China and surrounding countries, what happened was they couldn't just get the food from outside. In India, there was this tradition of the monks would beg and they would get the food, and they didn't have to do any of the standard chores. But when householders were included, and especially in places like, as I said, China, where there were rice farming that they needed to do, they decided that they could practice mindfulness as they were doing these chores, the chores that they needed to do, like farming. And those who garden would know gardening can be a wonderful mindful activity. One more time, somebody had asked me this question yesterday, and I do want to address it. Does it mean every time you do any mindful activity, you will be paying attention to all your six senses? The answer is the times when it is possible, yes, pay attention to all six senses. But if you're doing an activity that essentially is about certain kind of senses, then you don't need to worry about other senses. Like, for example, when you're gardening, should I taste the soil? No, you don't have to. But if there is a little tomato, should I taste it? Yes, go ahead. Whatever you're doing, the main thing is awareness, complete awareness by using whatever faculties you have. So remember that principle, and then you will know how to do different mindful activities. Music, for example, let me see if I got any comment on listening to music. I don't think so. I don't think anybody talked about what happened to them. Okay, now somebody wants to know, and this is an interesting thing, if you can listen to any type of music. The answer is yes, you can. And as you can see, the piece, okay, those who could hear me, maybe you couldn't hear me. I was listening to the song by Eagle, the old song, Hotel California. Now, one would say, okay, that's a rock song and this is a meditation class. But that's the whole point, I believe, how to put this activity, very useful mindfulness activity, in your daily life. Yes, you can listen to any kind of music. Having said that, there is also a balance of doing wholesome things, as in the things you do. You don't want to listen to, if you do listen to music, let's say you could listen to any music. Let's say that music involves something that is like really disturbing. Pay attention to the feelings that come to you. And in that sense, it would be okay to check what feelings you're getting and how you're dealing with it. You're observing yourself. In that sense, yes, it is okay to listen to any piece of music you want to. The problem with these questions is the ordering is not according to the time. So if I don't answer any question, I'm going to check all the questions and I will answer them either on the email or here live. And this has been a wonderful experience. I would love to get your comments, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Again, bye from New Delhi. Tomorrow I'm going to be in the same place. Day after tomorrow, I'll be in another place. And if you want, I can show you the surroundings of where I'm going to be that time. So bye, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your mindful tea.